Welcome once again to Huskies All Access here inside the studio as the Huskies move on after week 3. I'm Darren DuPont alongside the Outsiders, and it's Tom Croker at the end of the table, Dallas Carpenter here next to me as we welcome you inside once again. And this week, the Huskies were at home taking on the Calgary Dinos, and both teams undefeated coming into this one. And we'll pick this one up very early on, and it's Trovoy Martinez on the return for the Huskies, and he puts the ball on the ground. The Dinos recover, and they've got momentum early on, and they'll hand the ball to their all-star running back, Mercer Timmis, up the middle, and just like that, it's 7-0 Dinos. But the Huskies will respond. Drew Burko across, finding John Trumpy. What a start he's had to the season. He gets the major, and we're tied at 7. Huskies keep coming. Burko in the shotgun, hands the ball to Jarvis James. He slices and dices for 36 yards. That would lead to a Huskies field goal, and they'll lead this ball game 10-7. But Calgary, they've got a running back of their own in Mercer Timmis. Look at him starting all the way on the left-hand side of the field. Slices his own way back to the right, looking like Barry Sanders, and he'll march all the way down for 48 yards. And a big play there from the Dinos running back. And just 2 plays later, it's Mercer Timmis again. This time, takes the handoff up the middle. He absolutely undresses Trovoy Martinez into the end zone, and the Dinos up 14-10. Little trickery now from the Dinos. On third down, a fake punt. They go to the air. It'll fall incomplete, so the Huskies take over the ball, and it's Drew Burko in the red zone. Finds Bryden Osmond on the slant, and he's into the end zone. Huskies lead by 3. Then Burko again before the half is out, finding Osmond once more. Looks eerily similar up across the middle, and the Huskies take a 24-21 lead into the half. The Dinos get a field goal in the third quarter to tie this ball game, and then it's Timmis again up the middle. But check out the high kick on this one, and that's going to stall the Dinos' drive. That's incredible. But then Timmis once more, marching right through the middle, slicing and dicing in his own way inside the 25-yard line. And then after a controversial pass interference call against the Huskies, it's Andrew Buckley hooking up with Brett Blasco into the end zone with 3.5 minutes to go. The Dinos jump ahead 31-24. Then Huskies punting late. Rashawn Simonize on the return. He's going to put this ball on the ground. The Huskies are going to recover, but the official saying that forward progress was made. Fans in Saskatoon don't like this one. And then in garbage time, Mercer Timmis from 35 yards out adds to the Calgary Dinos lead, and they go on to win the ball game here, knocking off the undefeated Huskies. The Dinos winning this ball game. Final score 38-24. Mercer Timmis, 22 carries, 208 yards and 3 scores. Good game on the ground for Jarvis James. He had 22 carries, picking up 153 yards. He was very effective in this one for Saskatchewan, especially in the first half. John Trumpy, 101 yards on the ground. Bryden Osmond, a couple of receiving TDs through the air in this one. Andrew Buckley for Calgary completed 21 of 32 passes, 310 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. The Dinos improved to 3-0. The Huskies, they fall to 2-1 on the season. As we welcome you back in with the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas. And, you know, Tom, how much was this a statement game for Calgary and for the Huskies?
Well, it was a wake-up call, I think, for Calgary. I think they realized that there is some competition in the conference. It was a solid effort from the Huskies. They played an outstanding first half. Unfortunately, the offense really faltered in the third and fourth quarters, barely generating 100 yards until their final possession of the game. That coupled with some very questionable officiating calls late in the fourth were the Huskies' undoing. We're still waiting to see the Huskies be effective on offense for an entire 4 quarters. Hopefully that's something we'll see this Friday or this Saturday in Regina.
Yeah, Dallas, you're nodding in approval.
Well, I am, because the Huskies played them very close. I mean, this game was tied until there was 3.5 minutes left, and the Dinos only scored a touchdown on that drive, which was aided by a really poor penalty call. So, yeah, these teams are very close. The Huskies gave them a game, the Dinos, that is, that they won't forget very soon. And the Huskies are arguably, a little bit more. If they do a little bit more work on the passing game, they'll be neck and neck with the Dinos.
Guys, obviously that was a part in this game, was a couple of untimely penalty calls. Obviously that's not the point of this show, is to go in that direction, but that was a huge part in this game, and it helped lead to the go-ahead touchdown.
It couldn't have happened at a worse time. 2nd and 15, looks like we defended. The ball appeared uncatchable. It was certainly already past the receiver and defender before the contact occurred, and to see that flag was just awful timing. And of course Calgary, to their credit, finished the drive off and scored the touchdown, and then on the ensuing possession, there was a clear pass interference on one of our receivers on 2nd and 10 that was not called. So officials aren't perfect, but the timing of those mistakes was just awful.
They had a rough game, the officials did, but especially the fourth quarter. But hopefully the next time these two teams meet up, the officiating will be much better.
Running back Jarvis James was impressive in this one.
He was outstanding. He's in his 3rd year now with the Huskies. He had spot duty in his first 2 years. He has taken a bigger role in the offense this year. Husky Outsider actually profiled him prior to his grade 12 year. We were very impressed with his speed and elusiveness. That's something we saw on display Friday night. He was able to find some holes, use his quickness and good change of direction en route to 153 yards on 22 carries. The kids really worked hard in the offseason and put in the work to become a good CIS back.
All right, well, we'll talk to Jarvis James a little bit later on in the program. He's our feature in the Husky player profile. But when we come back, we're heading down to Griffith Stadium, where we'll sit down with the head coach, Brian Towriss. You're watching Huskies All Access. And as we head to break, a quick look at the Canada West standings after 3 weeks. And the Calgary Dinos, now the conference's only undefeated team at 3-0 after their win over Saskatchewan. The Huskies dropped to 2-1 in a tie for 2nd place with Manitoba. Alberta, after getting their first win since 2010, improving to 1-2, while UBC remains the conference's only winless team at 0-3. All right, here with Brian Towriss. Brian, thanks again for doing this one more time.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Calgary's game wasn't a win, but your feelings overall on the game?
Well, I thought our kids battled hard. They played really hard. We executed really well, especially in the first half. Offensively, we got off the ball. We had good timing. We attacked people. So, I was pretty happy with that for sure. Obviously we didn't finish, and that's disappointing. And we're not much into moral victories here. We had them on the ropes, and with 3 or 4 minutes left, we should have been able to put it away.
Yeah. How much was it a statement for your team to be able to play Calgary hard? You always play Calgary hard. It doesn't really matter what team you put on the field. You always play them hard. But with how they've played the rest of the league so far, was that a statement for you guys?
Well, we did what you have to do against Calgary. We stood up to them, although they did get the early jump with the fumble on the kickoff and scored 3 plays later. I thought we responded really well, and we did what we had to do. You have to get first downs. You got to stay on the field in offense, and you got to make them play into the game. And again, we did that. We just were unable to score any points in the second half. And really, what we had to do was score once, and we were kind of a couple first downs away from having field goal tries. But again, we played hard. We just got to respond and make sure we have a similar type of effort this week.
For sure, it's unfortunate. With a couple of penalty calls, were a big part of that football game. And you don't want to dwell too much on that part of the game, though.
No, and that's something we can't control, right? I thought we had a chance to be off the field with 3 minutes left or 3.5 minutes left, and we had a PI call that extended their drive that ultimately led to the touchdown. But those are things that we can't. There's nothing we can complain about them all we want, but they're not helping us. We have to. We got to fight through it. It's going to happen. The officials are part of the game. They're trying to do their best job. We got to respond. We had to take the ball after they scored, drive it down the field, and scored, which we did after they scored twice. We took it all the way down the field, but we got to do that right away and get ourselves back in the football game.
What different challenges now does the Regina Rams face this week?
Well, yeah, the Rams, they got a great offense too. They've got 6 talented receivers. They have their offensive line I think is better this year. They're young on defense, but they play fast and they play hard. So we got to do similar things. We got to have a same kind of effort that we had against Calgary on offense. We got to stay on the field. We got to get first downs, take advantage of our opportunities. They're going to play tons of man coverage, and that's what we got to do because their offense is going to put some points on the board.
No, for sure. How healthy is the team, and how close are you to possibly maybe getting some guys back?
Well, we're pretty healthy. I mean, we came through that game in pretty good shape, and that's what happens when you play hard. Guys, typically you don't get guys banged up. So, we came out of that one clean. It looks like we've got a couple long-term things from before. Degu's already had surgery. We got one more coming. So, we got 2 more games before the bye, and we got to keep battling and keep playing hard.
All right, Coach. Always a pleasure.
Good. Thanks, sir.
All right, there's Brian Towriss, the head coach of the Huskies. All right, here at Griffith Stadium with Dylan Kemp, linebacker of the Huskies. Dylan, this segment's called A Minute With. You familiar? You seen the show?
I haven't seen the show yet.
What?
I know.
I know, that's not good. It's not good to say.
Not the segment. I haven't seen the segment.
Okay, that's better. Minute With, okay, we got 1 minute. We're gonna pull out the stopwatch. We're gonna get you on the clock. Quick answers, fast questions, all right?
Okay.
And you got 1 minute on the clock, all right? There's the timer, and we're gonna start. All right, who's the most entertaining guy in the team?
Mark Ingram.
Why is Mark Ingram so funny? Everybody says that.
He's from Imperial. He's kind of a little redneck. He's a hilarious guy.
What makes Dylan Kemp in one word?
Aggressiveness.
I like that. How many tattoos do you have?
I'm covered in tattoos. I got a full sleeve. I got a bunch of tattoos.
How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
16.
Do you remember your first tackle? With the Huskies?
I do. It was here against the Rams, who we play next week.
What's the number one thing you enjoy about being a Husky?
I like the fans. The fan base is huge, and it really gets you going when you're playing home.
All right, 20 seconds. You got to tell us 5 things we don't know about you.
I have a cat. My brother lives in Vancouver. I'm from Rosetown. I drive a Mustang.
One more.
And I'm in business economics.
That's impressive. With 6 seconds left, you're the first guy who's been able to actually do 5 things in 20 seconds. So in the last 2 seconds, what else can you tell us about Dylan Kemp?
I'm really hungry and I need to get some food right now.
All right, we're going to let you go. All right, there's Dylan Kemp, Huskies Minute With, and we'll catch up with you later in the season.
Thank you very much.
Still to come, we hook up with running back Jarvis James in this week's Player Profile. Stick around. This week's Husky Player Profile, running back Jarvis James. He's 5'9", 193 pounds, and hails from Calgary, Alberta.
It's been great. The coaches are great. The players are great. It feels like a family. Everybody's excited, and the fan atmosphere in the stadium is always great. We were very dyno driven, so I didn't really know much about the Huskies until BT came and approached me. He told me it was a family here. He said everybody's it's a big family. Everybody's brothers here, and the atmosphere here is unmatched by any other team in CIS. Barry Sanders has always been my idol for running back. He's just great at his position. He's the best, I always feel. They're a very physical team, and BT said the way that we could have success running the ball is ramming it down their throat, and the offensive line did a very, very good job with their blocks, and it allowed me to see the holes when they developed. Kind of goofy, kind of weird sometimes. I like to relax, play games, and watch Netflix. I'm leaning towards marketing, and I like the suit professional aspect of it. Yeah. I need to think about it more, but I'd like to be in a big corporation kind of if possible. Just to help the team get to the Vanier. That's the main goal. Do whatever I can to put the team in the best position to win. Experience in the team and the fans, fireworks, everything that comes with Husky football. I do, yes. 2 seasons ago against UBC. It was just just normal run play. A couple players made key blocks that allowed me to spring outside and just run. I had a celebration planned out, but I got in, and there's so many feelings that I just didn't get out. That was going to be the Cam Newton Superman.
Yeah?
Yeah. See, we're gonna get better. Every year we get better and better. Every year offense gets better, defense gets better. We hit harder, play harder, capitalize when we need to capitalize.
This week's Husky player profile is running back Jarvis James. This week's CIS top 10 rankings, and the top 8 teams remain unchanged from a week ago. The Saskatchewan Huskies, falling to 2-1, remain at number 7 in the nation. Manitoba falls from number 9 to number 10, while Laval and Calgary continue to hold down the top 2 spots. Welcome back inside the Huskies All Access Studios. I'm Darren DuPont, and we're here once again joined by the outsiders, Tom and Dallas. And guys, this week the Huskies at 2-1, we're going to take on Regina. And Regina, a dangerous team through the air, a dangerous team for the Huskies this week. They're going to have to be prepared as we look at your keys to victory in this one. We'll start at the end of the table with keys to victory on offense.
Well, let's be effective on first down. Let's have a nice mix of passing and running plays. Hopefully put the Huskies in manageable downs on second down. Let's attack the middle of the field in the passing game. We saw the Dogs do this with great effect on Friday against Calgary. We got away from it in the third and fourth quarters, so maybe that's something we can get back to. And let's continue to establish Jarvis James in the running game. He seems to be the guy with the hot hand right now.
Yeah, Jarvis James, again, coming off a very big week. On the other side of the ball, Dallas, Regina has a very lethal passing game, and we saw, even in the loss against Alberta, that it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, they're able to get the job done. What do the Huskies got to do on defense and special teams to be effective?
Well, they sure are a good passing team, but one thing that the Huskies will have to remember is they can't forget about the run. The Rams put up 191 yards on Alberta the week before, and they can certainly hurt you with the run. And the Huskies have been a little bit vulnerable to that, usually in the first half. So they have to remember that. They have to watch for the big play. Addison Richards had over 200 yards receiving in that game, and he's the #1 receiver in the Canada West for a reason. So yeah, they have to watch for that big play. They shut it down against Calgary, so they're going to have to do something similar against the Rams on Saturday. And then with special teams, Denton, keep doing what you're doing. He's leading the league with 42.5 average punting yards right now, and he's hit on 6 or 7 field goal attempts. So he's winning field position for them, and he's putting up points when they need it. So Denton, keep it up.
And another player of the week performance from defensive back Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram has been great. I don't know what you can say about him. He's another in a long line of excellent Husky safeties after Bryce McCall and Dylan Barker. He's leading second in the league right now with 22 tackles, leading the league with 3 interceptions, and he had a key forced fumble in the first quarter on a long Calgary reception that if they had scored on that play, they would have been 14 points up, and that might have been the game. So yeah, Mark Ingram's been everything to that defense, and he's a key leader on the field.
All right, there's your keys to victory for this weekend's matchup between the Huskies and the Regina Rams as the Huskies look to improve to 3-1. Time in the program for our predictions, and we have the outsiders on here because it seems that nobody knows more about Canada West and about the Huskies than these two. Just taking a look back, guys, at the first 3 weeks, Tom's a perfect 9-0 in his predictions, if you can believe that. Dallas, you and I are 8-1, mm-hmm. So you guys seem to know what you're talking about, so you can take these predictions quite seriously. And yeah, knock on wood. But, Tom pointed out so graciously and humbly that last week his point spread was off by 1 point between all 3 games. The only one he had wrong was he picked Alberta by a single point, and they won by 2. Okay? So as we get to the predictions here, try not to get too overconfident here.
Watch me
but
go 0-3 this week.
Exactly. Friday night, it's Manitoba 2-1, visiting Calgary at 3-0. Tom?
Manitoba's going to need a huge night from quarterback Jordan Yance, slot back Nick Dembski, among others. And if they want to have a chance to pull the upset, I just don't think they're going to, and I'll take Calgary by 20.
Calgary by 20 in this one. Dallas?
Yeah, Calgary's playing at home. It's going to be tough to beat them there. It won't be a big blowout like it was the first 2 weeks, but I still think Manitoba is going to lose, and I'll say by 25.
Okay, and I have Calgary by 14 in this one, just because of the big playability that Manitoba does have with Dembski and with Jordan Yance. Saturday, we'll skip the early game for a second. We'll come back to the Huskies and Rams, but we'll start with Alberta, who are 1-2 in the season against UBC at 0-3. That number 7 ranking at the opening CIS top 10 is seeming a little bit more fishy as every week goes on. But what do you like in this one?
UBC is really struggling on offense, whereas Alberta's QB, Curtis Dell, seems to have really found his groove these last 2 weeks. I think UBC is going to keep it close. I think they're going to play a little better, but I like the Bears to win again, and I think the Alberta will win by 4.
Alberta by 4. Dallas?
Well, I'm picking Alberta by 13, and I just think that the Bears are on a roll right now, and they're going to present UBC with some looks that they haven't seen.
Yeah, I agree. I got Alberta by 10 in this one, and that's just simply because their offense has been so good. And once their defense starts putting it together, they're going to be dangerous, and they're going to be a force. So we all three of us have Alberta in this one, and then it's the Huskies in Regina taking on the Rams. Huskies 2-1, the Rams 1-2 on the season. Tom?
I expect this to be a very close game. Whatever the Rams' problem is that's led them to be a 1-2 record, moving the ball on offense certainly isn't one of them, and we're going to have our offense in gear to keep pace with them and put some points up on the board. I think we will improve a little bit on offense, and I'll take the Huskies to win narrowly by 3.
Dallas?
Yeah, well, I agree that it'll be a lot closer than people think. I think that the Rams will come out hard. They're going to want to put up a victory there for Coach McChrystal's last game against a Saskatoon team, but they won't, and this one will be a 10-point victory for the Huskies.
Yeah, and I think we have to play the Huskies in this one as well, and I think the Huskies by a touchdown in this one, a converted touchdown, 7 points to win this one. Final thoughts, guys, each of you, a quick final thought on this weekend's game against Regina.
It's a big win. I don't think the Dogs will take it lightly. They had that mistake coming out of a good performance against Manitoba where they took Alberta a little lightly. They won't this week, but Regina is going to be ready too. So it is going to be a tough game.
Dallas?
If we can get a few hundred Husky fans in the stands there to cheer the Huskies on, I'm sure they'll appreciate it, and they're going to come out hard. I think they're going to take this game seriously.
All right, well, the Huskies in Regina taking on the 1-2 Rams. That game Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. On behalf of the Outsiders, Tom and Dallas, I'm Darren DuPont. Be sure to find Huskies All Access on your social media platforms, and we'll see you again next week.